This week on UND Insider Weekly, men's hockey splits in Denver but leaves tied for first in the NCHC. Women's basketball temporarily experiences second place before reclaiming the top spot in the Big Sky. Men's basketball starts to find its groove with a 3-game winning streak. And women's hockey keeps going strong as they continue their 6-game homestand that continues next week against Minnesota. Coach Brian Idalski is in the coach's corner to talk about that upcoming series, and players talk about their last encounter with Minnesota that ended the Gophers' 63-game winning streak and what they're looking forward to as their rivals come to the Ralph. All this week on UND Insider Weekly. Welcome to UND Insider Weekly along with Paul Ralston. There's Ryan Powell, there's Dan Corey from WDAZ, these two guys from UND Athletics. I'm Tim Hennessy, and welcome to the program once again. Let's talk about the Minnesota-North Dakota series, probably the biggest one in town this weekend in women's hockey. Two of the top 3 teams most likely in the country, 2 of the top 3 teams in the WCHA, ramifications to national tournament action and all that on the line this week. And Dan, with a 5-point gain over Bemidji State last weekend, North Dakota comes into this one. Some pretty good momentum, wouldn't you say?
I would definitely say this team understands, and Coach Idalski understands, that everything UND does has to go through Minnesota. Whether it's in the regular season or in the postseason, it has to go through the Gophers. And they proved when they went to the cities that they can beat Minnesota, that Minnesota is beatable. And I think that gives them confidence because they have to prove that, yes, they are one of the top teams in the country. And it's going to be a big series.
And to add on top of that, what's interesting about this meeting as opposed to the last meeting where North Dakota upended the Gophers down at Ritter Arena is that North Dakota is without some players that have left here during the season. Minnesota, their players who went to the Olympics, a lot of them were either Canadian or American players, so they nationalized basically, so they were out of the lineup actually before the season even started. North Dakota's lost Karvinen, they've lost Happening. One of the players I would think that Coach Idalski would love to have back and get into this rotation, he feels is going to be one of the bigger players for them moving forward if she can get healthy, is Leah Jensen from East Grand Forks, Minnesota. There's been talk that she's getting close now. If they can add her into the lineup going against Minnesota, that would certainly help because I think she's got that kind of offensive firepower that can really help them.
Well, when you take Karvinen, Tapany, and others out of that lineup, the way Minnesota likes to play, the way North Dakota likes to play, puck possession, up and down the ice, they'll put the pressure on you. You're not able to do it. I mean, Janet Karvinen may be the best player in the WCHA. She might be the best player in the country. You take her out of there offensively, it'll be interesting to see whether the coach will want to throttle back a little bit this weekend. I don't know.
I look at it from this standpoint, too. One of the good things that North Dakota's seen this season on the women's hockey side is these young defensemen can really puck move it. They can get it out of their zone pretty quickly and transition you around from defense to offense in a hurry. And if they can continue to do that, maybe that offsets the losses a little bit. If these young defensemen have a good series where, you know, once they gain possession in their end, can they hit the quick outlet and relieve that pressure that the Gophers can put on you? That's going to be crucial if these young defensemen take another step, and they've had big years already.
This weekend at the Ralph, North Dakota and Minnesota in WCHA play. Men's hockey comes back from Denver after a split over the weekend. They're on top in the NCHC. Granted, St. Cloud State has a couple fewer games played so far, but I was in Denver Friday night, outstanding effort, kind of consistently what they've been doing all along during their 9-game unbeaten streak going into that. And Saturday night wasn't a whole lot different. It's just, you know, some people will blame Clark Saunders, but you know what, if the other guy doesn't give up any goals, Saunders could have given up 12, wouldn't have made any difference if you're not going to score any. Sam Britton was the difference, the Denver goaltender in that one. I don't think there's any doubts. I don't think anybody's guessing right now, does this mean they're on a downswing or something? I don't think so. What do you guys think?
Oh, go ahead. I was going to say that.
A lot of nodding.
You know, the reality of it is that when you go to Denver, I mean, if you get 1 of 2, I mean, that's huge. When we were in the WCHA or whether, you know, we're in the NCHC, that's big to get 1 win. And certainly goals didn't go in the net. They had a lot of shots and a lot of opportunities. The thing I'm looking at right now, how about that blue collar line? Patton, Gorder, and who was the other one? Rodwell on that line? I think the team has kind of taken their cue from them right now. I don't know. It just seems like they've had the better of the play recently, and everybody's kind of kind of playing off of them, which is kind of exciting to see.
And their power play got him back in the groove a little bit on Friday night, Saturday night. It didn't make a difference what your power play did. Sam Britton was not going to give up a goal. I don't think there was any doubt about that. And their penalty kill, they got a good penalty kill. The 2 goals Denver got on the power play Friday night, one of them was just absolute fluke, coming off the end boards and off down in front instead of going around. It was the funniest thing you've ever seen, is watching the goaltender Saunders looking at his defenseman, they're both going, where to go? It's supposed to come around. Came out in front, tapped it. And the other one came with a couple of seconds left in the game. So, and they got a shorthanded goal. I think they're doing everything right. I don't think this week off is good for them, though. I mean, the way they've been playing, that's never good, is it, Ryan, for a team when you got things going pretty good to have to take time off?
Well, I know I'm sitting in Brad's seat. I should have an elite hockey mind, but I don't. But I know about teams. I know about And coming off the 9-game winning streak, and then you lose, let one slip away, and then you run into a hot goaltender. Maybe need a week just to kind of take a step back and get focused and see how we end up the last 6 weeks of the season.
I like that, positive. He takes a positive take on that one. The women's basketball team was 6-0 in the Big Sky for a while. All of a sudden, they're in second place after losing a couple of games. Jumped back in against Northern Arizona with a win on Saturday, getting back into first place in the Big Sky. How big is that with home games coming up, Paul?
Well, certainly what was shocking was the score of that game in Sacramento State. You dropped it, but I mean, you score 104 points without a 3-point field goal. That's just unbelievable. And lose. And the thing about it is, you still manage to go out on that road trip, get a win. In Big Sky play, if you can get 1 out of 2 on the road, you're sitting pretty well. And I think the fans right now are kind of gravitating to this women's program. They've gotten out of the gates well. And it's going to be quite a finish here, because I think Montana State, Montana still want to say something about this finish, Sacramento State and Eastern Washington. I think it's going to be a real interesting finish here to this Big Sky season. And so North Dakota's got to feel pretty good about coming off the road trip, despite that Thursday night loss at Sacramento State, scoring the 104 and losing. But overall, coming home right now for a 4-game stretch, they got to be pretty excited about the opportunity that sits in front of them.
Ryan, how do you get 104 points, turn it over, 26 times? And lose?
Sacramento State relies on the 3. They don't even get back on defense. Literally, they took 42 3-point shots.
Wasn't it Pepperdine?
Yeah.
Loyola, Marymount.
That was
Cornell.
Yeah.
I think they were 16 for 42 from 3-point range, and we were 0 for 1 in that one attempt was late in the game when we were trying to get something to fall. But I think what you can take from the split, playing without Maya Lloyd, who's arguably one of the best players in the Big Sky, is you need someone to step up, and that was Michaela. Michaela Dyer had 20-plus points in both of those games, and I think even one before that. So she's starting to figure it out. She's a Wisconsin transfer that just got eligible at mid-year, so she's really been that player that when someone goes down, you got to have someone step up, and that's been her.
Huge plus for them to have her in the lineup.
Absolutely.
And Dan, the rebounding for North Dakota has been just amazing this year. Those numbers are just shocking sometimes in Big Sky play. But I guess you get into a game against Sacramento State where maybe that's not really a big factor when you can really utilize your bigs. But really, in Big Sky play, it's been huge, hasn't it?
Yeah, maybe Sacramento State, maybe a fluke game, but you mentioned her name, Maya Lloyd, unbelievable, leading the Big Sky in conference, standing not even 5'10". She's been a spark plug, and Dyer coming off the bench, it just adds more depth. You want to be playing your best basketball in March, and if UND can get fully healthy, I think they have the capability of doing that.
Okay, guys, they get no 3-pointers and score 104. The men get 13 3-pointers against Northern Arizona on Saturday. What's going on there?
Well, I'll tell you this.
You know all about that.
We've been waiting for a game where everybody was clicking, shooting the 3, and they all fed off of it. I mean, that was really neat to see. Cole Steffen came into the program advertised as a guy that can shoot the 3. And we've seen him with his stroke have a couple be spin in and out this year where he had a chance to have multiple 3-point games. He hit 3. Aaron Anderson hits 3. Jamal Webb hits 3 big ones in the second half. He's really been fighting it a little bit. So you look at it from these guys, they all fed off of one another. And, they were it was a real positive game in so many aspects against Northern Arizona, but it was a really good weekend. You get to 5-3 in the conference right now, going on a 4-game road stretch. And that's where you had to be. That's where they had to be. They had to get these 2. And it's a credit to Coach Jones and his team that they were able to do so.
It was, and I think winning 3 straight, going into 2 places where you won last year helps too. We got the sweep at Eastern Washington and Portland State last year, so I think they can feed off of that confidence a little bit. Like Paul said, 13 for 23, that's a season high in 3-pointers. But it was a lot of just everything, 5 guys in double figures. We hadn't done that since the season opener at Minnesota Morris. So everything was going good, and I think Troy Huff had 8 points.
I was going to say, a little different lineup. Troy Huff didn't play a whole lot in the second half, did he?
He did not. I think that was a coaching decision just because maybe Stefan had the hot hand and was playing well that game, and those things happened. But one thing Troy did do was pass Phil Jackson on the all-time scoring list, so that was a pretty cool nugget. It's not every day you pass a guy like Phil Jackson on the career scoring list, and he did that. So he's had a great career, and there will be good things from Troy down the stretch here.
3 out of 4 or 2 out of 4 do they need on this road trip?
I'll take 2 out of 4.
3 and 1 would be great, but Coach Jones is a believer in splitting on the road, and if you do that, I think you're okay.
The one thing I'll say about Northern Arizona, Sacramento State, I think all the teams in the conference I've seen so far this year are better. Coach Jones talks about it all the time. I just think it's such a challenge to win all games on your home court and on the road. All the teams in the Big Sky seem improved. Sacramento State, to me, seemed like they had taken another step. Northern Arizona, their nickname's the Lumberjacks. I thought they had a whole bunch of Paul Bunyans on the team. And I say that affectionately.
I didn't know you were going there.
But they were big. They were huge. And North Dakota, despite being undersized, figured out a way to win. So credit to them. But here we go on a big road trip. It's going to be a lot of fun to see where we fit coming out of it.
See, he said one thing, right? How many was that?
Yeah.
Lumberjack reference in it. Coming up before their big series with Minnesota, Coach Brian Idalski will sit down with us next in the Coach's Corner.
The great thing about snowboarding is the adventure. All day long, you're finding different ways of doing different things, and it's never the same. I don't mind snowboarding alone, but if you've got your friends up there on the mountain and you guys can all cruise down together, it's a really, really fun time. Snowboarding has been really fun and really rewarding for me, and I want it to be fun and rewarding for my customers as well. I'm Lindsay McKinstry, and I'm one of the snowboard experts at Shields.
Right now at Burger King, choose any 2 sandwiches for just $5. Whether you're craving a Whopper sandwich and an original chicken sandwich, an original chicken sandwich and a premium Alaskan fish sandwich, or a Whopper and another Whopper. Come in today and get any 2 for just $5. Only at Burger King, where taste is king.
The 2014 WCHA Final Face-Off is coming to Bemidji. See the best of women's college hockey compete for the WCHA Conference Championship. Catch all the action on Friday, March 7th and Saturday, March 8th at the Sanford Center. Tickets are on sale now with general admission as low as $15. Available at the Bob Loth Ford pickup windows at the Sanford Center, Lucan's Village Foods, charge by phone or at Ticketmaster.com. It's the WCHA Final Face-Off, Friday and Saturday, March 7th and 8th at the Sanford Center, Bemidji.
Right now at Burger King, choose any 2 sandwiches for just $5. Whether you're craving a Whopper sandwich and an original chicken sandwich, an original chicken sandwich and a premium Alaskan fish sandwich, or a Whopper and another Whopper. Come in today and get any 2 for just $5. Only at Burger King, where taste is king.
UND Insider Weekly is sponsored by Shields, Gear, Passion Sports, by Burger King, where taste is king, and by The Ground Round.
It's the series everybody is talking about. 2 of the nation's top teams face off as Minnesota visits the Ralph this Friday and Saturday to take on North Dakota. Action starts both days at 7 o'clock, 7:07 actually. So get your tickets at Ralph Engelstad Arena's box office and UNDsports.com. The coach of that women's hockey team, Brian Idalski, is nice enough to join us in the Coach's Corner. We had to drag him out of Ralph Engelstad Arena and get him over here away from practice. Brian, thanks for being here. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
2 of the top 3 teams in the country, correct?
Rankings come out again this afternoon, so we were 3rd last week. We'll see what will happen.
5 points over the weekend against Bemidji, a shootout win on Friday night, and then the victory on Saturday night without your Olympians, with the exception of Eisenschmied. That makes it tough on your team to kind of get that chemistry thing going again, doesn't it?
Well, I think anytime you're missing a couple players, it takes a little bit for people to step up into some new roles, execute some of the new things that are expected of them. And overall, I was happy with the weekend. I thought we did a nice job. Some kids stepped into some spots and made some plays for us.
Were you playing some kids out of position? Were you playing some forwards back on D or the other way around?
We had 3 defensemen playing forward. Second PP unit was, a little bit different, but the biggest thing was the kill, because those players played significant minutes in the penalty kill, so to get new people in that was a little bit difficult for us off the hop.
You know, you have Minnesota this weekend. But that's invaluable experience for those players in that situation coming into a big weekend like this one, isn't it?
Well, it's one thing to get that experience in an exhibition game, which we tried to do coming into the year, but it's a vastly different thing when you're playing, some of the top teams and you're playing in WCHA. So it's nice for them to get a couple games on their belt before we play a very talented Minnesota team.
You enjoy playing Minnesota, don't you?
Who wouldn't? It's a rivalry game. It's awesome. It's unbelievable. The atmosphere is great. The intensity is better. We seem to bring out the best in each other, and they've been fun games to be a part of. So looking forward to a couple more.
Brian, you hurt their feelings when you broke their 63-game winning streak. They're not going to be happy about that, I'm sure.
I thought we were really polite about the whole thing, to be honest with you. So we'll see what happens. I'm sure they're excited to come back and show that that was a fluke. We're excited to show that we're a quality team that can play with them, and so should make for some high drama.
The story, certainly for a good portion of the season, has been your goaltending. You've got two players there that have really done a nice job when they've been given the opportunity, and they continue to do so. Talk a little bit about a young freshman that has earned some time, and then you have a sophomore that continues to play well as well. It's a good story for your program.
Yeah, it's nice. It's a healthy competition. Both of them, have confidence in themselves and are supportive, but both want to be the kid down the stretch. So it's a nice situation to have, and it's a luxury to have two quality kids that coaching staff has a lot of faith in.
Lexi Shaw's not, she has some confidence, would you say?
That's a little bit of Motown flavor. When you grow up like we did, if you're not complimenting yourself, no one else is. Generally, people are trying to tear you down a little bit. So, it's not uncommon for you to say you're pretty good.
It's not only a rivalry series with Minnesota, but it's also a fun series to play because they'll go up and down the ice with you, won't they?
It's going to be a skating game. We both try to play a little bit of puck possession. We both want to get up and down the ice and skate, and so I think that's a lot of fun. I think it's entertaining for the kids. They enjoy it, but I think the fans are the real winners in a game like that. That's pretty high end.
And Friday night's fill a bowl game, so dollar tickets and commemorative pucks for the first 1,000 people in the door. It's going to be a lot of fun. The atmosphere should be supercharged for a game like that. I think probably the players really enjoy playing in an atmosphere like that.
Absolutely. These are our memory games. Anytime you're in a rivalry, the crowd's good, the atmosphere's good. It's a lot of fun to compete in that. So we're looking forward to it.
Brian, best of luck this weekend. Thanks for being here today. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Brian Idalski is the coach of the UND women's hockey team against Minnesota this weekend. Still to come, the players will share their thoughts on the series this weekend and also their last encounter with that Minnesota team.
Right now at Burger King, choose any two sandwiches for just $5. Whether you're craving a Whopper sandwich and an original chicken sandwich, an original chicken sandwich and a premium Alaskan fish sandwich, or a Whopper and another Whopper. Come in today and get any two for just $5. Only at Burger King, where taste is king.
North Dakota women's hockey takes on rival Minnesota in a critical WCHA matchup Friday, January 31st at 7 p.m. Be a part of history as we set the single game attendance record. Tickets are just $1, and the first 1,000 fans will receive a collectible puck. Purchase your tickets today at the Ralph Engelstad Arena box office, and we'll see you at the Ralph for the rivalry, UND, Minnesota, on Friday, January 31st.
Right now at Burger King, choose any two sandwiches for just $5. Whether you're craving a Whopper sandwich and an original chicken sandwich, an original chicken sandwich and a premium Alaskan fish sandwich, or a Whopper and another Whopper. Come in today and get any two for just $5. Only at Burger King, where taste is king.
Winter fashion is a wonderland, and you'll find all the season's best looks waiting for you at Shields. So let it snow.
Join the celebration of Through These Doors' 50th episode. Tell us your favorite moments and episodes from the series by tweeting with the hashtag PTD50. The 50th episode premieres next Thursday at 9 p.m. on UND Insider and next Friday at 6:30 on Midco Sports Network. Months after the historic game that ended Minnesota's 63-game winning streak, the players are getting ready to face them in the friendly confines of the Ralph this weekend. They shared their thoughts about what it has been like to face Minnesota this season.
I think it kind of proved to everybody that hard work kind of pays off, and that, yeah, we can sit and say it all you want, like, oh, we can beat them, but to finally get the outcome and prove ourselves and prove to everybody else, like, it's there and we're there, and any given night, anything can happen. I think it's huge, and I think that we need to always remember that, because we need to come out every game like that, not just, oh, well, it happened once and now it'll happen again. Like, it can happen at any night, any time.
Well, we knew that we're just as good as they are, and so we knew we could do it. I think it was important that we come out and have a really good first 20 minutes.
Obviously, that third goal was just, I don't even, like, you're like, wow, like, is this actually happening? And but it still kind of keeps you on your toes. You know, you don't want to blow that lead, so you're still working hard, and it was really nice to have that lead.
Felt great. Kind of one of those things you can't really describe. Obviously, because the year before you watched the Gophers go pretty much untouched through the whole year, and then finally being able to kind of put your mark in there and prove to them and the rest of the nation that we're something big and that people should be paying attention to us. And, you know, sometimes we kind of get swept under the rug being in a conference with the Gophers in Wisconsin, so it's kind of nice to have made our name, and we're the first team to beat them finally.
I mean, I thought it was relieving. I thought, you know, we finally proved to everyone that we could do it, and that hard work really does pay off. It was relieving.
I'm supporting her. If the puck goes to her, is she going to score from there?
Well, I think they're a team with a lot of speed, so we need to make sure that we need to get it on them and not let them dictate the game. We need to dictate the game.
You know, I think we're just going into this weekend. We want to win, and, you know, being at home, it makes it a lot easier, I think. It would be good to get those 2 wins and end, like, on a good note at home.
Well, it's pretty fun to play with that atmosphere. Like, we don't often get like 3,000 or more fans, so it's pretty fun, but it's still, we gotta focus on the game, and that's what we're here to play.
I'm really excited. I think we need to use it to our advantage, you know. It's kind of like a reminder that, you know, we're part of something bigger than ourselves, and, you know, it'll be nice to have those people cheering for us. And
it's really cool, just especially being a women's player. There's never really 1,000 or 2,000 or 3,000 people there on any given night. I remember last year, and when they're very close, and how packed it was, and like the atmosphere, it makes it, I think, even a little bit harder for the opponents to come in here and play. Like, we have a very good advantage, and it'll be a good atmosphere for women's hockey in general.
Up next on UND Insider Weekly, this glorious panel, that's what I said, will tell what they are looking forward to this coming week.
UND Insider Weekly is sponsored by Shields, Gear, Passion Sports, by Burger King, where taste is king, and by the Ground Round.
North Dakota women's hockey takes on rival Minnesota in a critical WCHA matchup Friday, January 31st at 7 p.m. Be a part of history as we set the single game attendance record. Tickets are just $1, and the first 1,000 fans will receive a collectible puck. Purchase your tickets today at the Ralph Engelstad Arena box office, and we'll see you at the Ralph for the rivalry, UND, Minnesota, on Friday, January 31st.
Welcome back. Well, it's the segment that is sweeping the nation. And we'll be sweeping the floors if it isn't. Let's find out what these guys are looking forward to this weekend. Dan?
I'm looking forward to women's basketball. They return home for a four-game stand. It's going to be interesting to see. I think if you go 3-1 in this stretch, you're sitting in first place more than likely. And I think everything's really starting to click for them. And hopefully Coach Brew can keep it going.
Will you be shooting that?
I will. I'll be here.
Nice. See him.
Except for we still don't.
You don't do that anymore?
Not anymore.
Come on. Ryan Powell, what do you think?
Besides being as glorious as I am, Tim, I think it's that men's basketball road trip. Just seeing how we can carry that momentum.
Getting out of this weather?
Well, I can't say that because my wife will be angry that I'm leaving town again. But winning 3 straight, winning that road game at Montana State, coming home, taking care of business, can we carry that momentum out to Eastern Washington and Portland State this weekend and really maybe set ourselves up as what we were picked to be by the coaches and the media as one of the top 3 teams in the conference. So hopefully it goes well.
Very nice.
I'll just add to that, obviously, this trip to the Pacific Northwest. I actually enjoy it. They're great towns. We're just outside of Spokane in Washington. And when we get to Portland, it's Voodoo Donuts, which is a great little gem
It's all about
of a place.
work, Paul. It's all about
yeah,
work.
right. There's some other places in Portland there, too. Powell's Bookstore. Got to go to Powell's Bookstore if we have a chance. So anyway, certainly when you get down to it, for men's basketball, it's a big weekend. Hopefully they can maybe cultivate some of the good feelings that they had from a year ago out there, because they had really just 2 phenomenal games late in the season that really carried their play and kind of triggered everything last year. And Troy Huff, one of the most single-handedly great individual performances in one half of basketball in Eastern Washington last year. Maybe he does it again. I don't know, but it'll be a lot of fun.
Fill the bowl for UND and Minnesota women's hockey on Friday night at the Ralph. That's $1 for every ticket, right?
Yeah, $1 for every ticket. I think they were 6 short of setting the record last year, Tim. So get out there. $1 ticket, you can't beat it. Should be a lot of fun.
And some great hockey, 2 of the top teams, if not the 2 top teams in the nation. I'm looking forward to the Super Bowl on Sunday between Seattle and Denver. Just got all kinds of Broncos stuff when we were in Denver. Picks on the Super Bowl, Dan?
I'll take Seattle.
Denver.
I'm going Seattle. Defense wins championships.
No, Denver wins that one, no problem. Thanks, guys. Dan, appreciate it. Ryan, for coming over, filling in. And Paul. Next week on UND Insider Weekly, women's basketball coach Travis Brewster will be in the Coach's Corner to talk about how his team has performed so far this season. Also, with the Winter Olympics coming up, we sat down with the student athletes that are headed off to Sochi. So catch the episode next Wednesday at 8 p.m. and Friday at 5:30 on Midco Sports Net.